Well, for the few of you that I can see out there, good morning. Make sure you got a good seat. Let your eyes close. Looks like we're starting at 9:30 today. And so take a breath. And see if you can soften and settle in. And just let yourself kind of be heavy into your seat. If you feel like you're ready, go ahead and bring your hands up to your heart. And if you're familiar with the Anusara chant and you'd like to join in, take a deep breath. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachetananda Murtaye Nich Prapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase. All right. So for today, I just want to talk about moving energy in and out or up and down. And part of the idea of that is if we can get energy into the ground or into the earth, and let's do that while we're moving. So if you're ready for it, take a kneeling lunge. And let's go with your right foot forward. And you can use whatever you need to make that comfortable. But take a kneeling lunge. And on the first part here, I just want you to lunge basically forward. And as you do that, let some of your energy go down. And so there's kind of a soften down and into something to allow yourself to just melt into something. And that's one of the terms we use a lot in yoga. Go ahead and switch legs if you feel like you're ready for it. And so we'll soften down, we'll soften into something, allow ourselves to kind of just accommodate whatever the texture or comfort is. So take a nice, long, deep lunge, and you can work any mechanics that you want. Just take a couple more breaths in this. And then as you work this, just use your breath to allow yourself to soften, just to be present and to relax into it. And then we'll change it up. We're going to do it again, switch sides. This Zafu is a little thicker than I was thinking. It's a little thicker than what I use at home. Lunge forward and into this again. And take a deep breath or two. And on this one, I'm going to change just a little bit. And there's some language that you'll sometimes hear in meditation stuff. And it goes along with soften, but it's more to create a trajectory. So to like pierce into awareness or consciousness. So on both legs, as you lunge down and forward, apply a little push. And I'm hoping what happens is there's a little inward and upward movement. So even though I am softening in the nervous system with my body, I'm trying to push into or press down into the earth with both legs. Go ahead and switch sides. And that's part of the main topic or theme that I want to work today. Lunge down and forward. And you're welcome to melt into. Or we can, on the other side of melt, we could say reach, extend. Pierce almost sounds violent. But if we were to think that we're erratic, as you lunge, push. If we were to think that we're stressed or nervous or erratic, to pierce, to move through whatever that boundary is that is keeping us from getting to centered, mindful, and so on. Downward facing dog pose. You can move your bolster out of the way. And then take a few breaths as you stretch back into your downward facing dog pose. And if you do this well, something should come untucked from your down dog. Bring your right foot up to the front. Take a lunge and let's stretch up. Take a couple of breaths. So you can judge for yourself today. Long shirt. I can kind of get reminded of Chris Farley, but I don't know if I want to do that song with the little coat. Take your lunge, and then however you would like to do it, we're just going to switch legs. So you can go chaturanga, down dog, all the way through your vinyasa. Good morning. And left foot to the front. Take a couple of breaths and stretch it up. And so right there in that stretch, maybe in your mind and your heart and your nervous system soften and melt in a little deeper. On your next exhale, let's do it again. Chaturanga, vinyasa. And go through each one of the steps of your vinyasa. Listen to your body. And then let's go right foot to the front and stretch up. First warrior pose, Virabhadrasana 1. And just take a breath and soften like into your own being, your own nervous system. And then when you're ready, again, vinyasa, chaturanga, you can stand up to switch sides, but go through however you're going to transition today. And then we're going to do the left hand side. So when you're ready, left foot forward. First warrior pose. And take a couple of breaths. So just kind of soften into your place, soften into your being. And then on the next one, step to the front and take more of a forward fold, Uttanasana. And definitely let your head tip down today. So a big forward fold, 2 more breaths. And bring your hands to your hips. As you come up, give your shoulder blades a little bit of a squeeze. Let's go for it. Stretch up. And fold forward. And lengthen forward. And step back into plank or chaturanga. Just go right into the chaturanga if you want. You're also welcome just to take your time and go back to down dog. You can skip that whole vinyasa. Let's go with your right foot to the front. And then open up to the side, second warrior pose. And just take a breath or two. Tip it back. So you can take that back hand and either wrap it all the way around or just put it on your back hip or thigh. Stretch up really tall in the front. And then transition. Chaturanga, down dog. However you're going to work it. Good morning again. And left foot to the front. First warrior pose. And then open it up to the side, second warrior. I talked through it a little different than we did on that first side, but second warrior pose. Take a breath. Bring that back hand to your hip or thigh, or you can wrap it all the way around and go tall. And then when you're ready, chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. On the next pose, we're going to get into the hamstrings a little bit. So if you have your yoga block, go ahead and get those blocks out. When you're ready, bring your right foot to the front. Then bring your hands up to your hips and come up tall like this. So make both legs straight for a couple seconds. On this one, when we get into it, there's a degree of softening. If you can, hinge right here at the hips. So as you go forward, your heart might even stick out. Bring your hands down to your blocks. So I'm not trying to go as low as I possibly could. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my front hip and I'm going to pull the sit bone down and back. So this sit bone right here, pull it down and back, which is the opposite of a tailbone scooping down and forward. So down and back with that sit bone. And I even want to apply a little pressure. So on this one, I'm going to take that front foot and I'm going to push down as I take the sit bones, the pubis back. I'm going to, figuratively speaking, I'm going to try to push into the floor. I'm going to root down, not passively melt down. I'm going to actively pierce into the earth, into the floor, and make a connection. Switch sides. I know that wasn't very long for some folks. Second foot forward. If that was too much talking, definitely chaturanga vinyasa. Nobody's tattling these days if you did 2 or 3. Left leg forward. And again, like it starts all the way from back here. Take that sit bone and just push it down. And it's down and back. That's the direction I want you to go. Just at the sit bone. And you might feel your thigh go a little bit back and your hips stick out and your low back become more flat. All the way out at the foot, the toes, the mounds, the tips push down. And I'm hoping what you feel when you do that is that energy that it sometimes takes to push through a boundary or a barrier. Push. This is going to take a little bit of strength. And sometimes I believe it's a little less comfortable. Okay, however you want to do it. Chaturanga, downward facing dog. All right, let's bring your right foot to the front. So once you get that right foot up to the front, first warrior pose again. And I want to pretend like my yoga mat is something I could just pierce through. Just take that front leg and just push down in to the soil or the earth or to your yoga mat. And I'm hoping that when you push like that, you feel stuff. Second warrior pose, open up towards the side. This time, tip forward. Bring your forearm or elbow to your front knee. I'll give you a side view of it. And once you get there, use your arm to press. Yeah, even for a moment, use your back arm and push. And I want you to feel the tone that builds from that energy you have to use to break through. Go ahead and reach up. Excellent job. Downward facing dog or chaturanga sequence, and go ahead and switch sides. When you get your left foot to the front, that's when I want you to go. First warrior pose, right up there. And into second warrior pose, right there. Take a couple of breaths in that second warrior pose. And lean it forward. Bring your forearm down to your thigh, and that other arm, just bam, straight up. And this forward view on the camera, if you can see it, I want to use the arm, my leg, my foot, all the way from the hip, and I'm going to push. And it's that push, like I'm trying to pierce into the earth, that also helps me rise up and reach higher up into the sky. But you got to push through. This isn't just lay on top of. Downward facing dog pose. And let's go right foot forward into a lunge. Just a kneeling lunge, right foot forward. Okay. On this one, don't lunge so far forward yet. Just lean a little bit into it. And then on that front foot and leg, I don't want you to just push with your toe tips. I want you to push down. And one of the things that you'll probably notice if you push down enough is it's like you're going to try to stand up, but we're just not doing liftoff. So I want to push down that much. I want to push down through. I mean, if there was like a pressure pad underneath the floor, I'm a little brother. So if this was my big brother, love you, Brooke, pushing down through his heel into my chest as a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old wrestling, like I want the earth to feel it. Push. Like something underneath could feel. Reach. Let's do a little more. Let's take the opposite hand down. Pierce is pretty intense. Turn open, stretch up. But it kind of brings the idea. The connection I want to go beyond the surface. And then on your exhale from here, we're going to turn it a little bit. So turn your back leg. You see that? Turn that back leg. And then I'm just going to lunge forward and reach up. I'll show you from the side. So it's basically side lunging and reach. You can go down pretty low and reach really far. Man, the side body stretch. Go big. And back up. Second side. Left leg forward. Do a little bit of a lunge. Now you can push down with both sides. Back leg as well. If you're really, really tight in the hip and you can't go very, very far forward, then maybe you don't have to push down as much. But I'm still going to think back leg, push. Front leg, again, root. And think about those roots. The roots don't just lay on the surface. The roots dig down below. Go ahead and go up. This reminds me of one of my old teachers, Paul Muller Ortega. You got it. Nice job, and come back up. Let's take a side angle on that. So you could do that side angle by moving your back leg and just lunging straight ahead. I just turned sideways a couple moments ago, so either one works. Lunge, way over. And again, I don't want to just lean into the earth. I want to make a connection that's deeper than the surface. So I got to push. And you can feel that. I mean, it's different. There's a different energy when you put your energy out to get through a boundary or a barrier. All right, downward facing dog pose. Let's do a vinyasa, chaturanga or down dog. And then let's work your right foot up to the front of your yoga mat, first warrior pose, Virabhadrasana 1. Shift your weight a little bit forward. You could use your hands or no hands. Come up and balance. Just take a breath. At the moment, you could squeeze in and just make things more solid. Come back into first warrior pose and stretch up. Second warrior pose, Virabhadrasana 2. Open up towards the side, or side lunge. Take a breath. Get back and stretch up. Lean forward, press down and stretch up, even stretch over. Chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. Second side, so go left foot forward. First warrior pose. Take a breath. So you can use your breath internally to soften deeper in here. Open up to the side, second warrior pose. But with the body, tip back and stretch up. We can use softening a lot to help our body get to places that it's been resisting for some reason or another. Tip it forward, plant, reach. And you can do quite a big reach there. It's up to you. Chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. Oh, I left one out. Turn forward. If you're with me, turn forward, lean forward, press up and balance. Did leave it out. Step back, first warrior, stretch up. Hey, the sun's coming out. And downward facing dog pose. Let's do that whole sequence again. Let's go right foot to the front. Take a breath. First warrior. Shift your body weight a little bit forward. Get into that front leg. Press up and balance. If you can, while you're pressing up and balance, if you wore a shirt that's a little too short today, tuck it in. First warrior pose. Second warrior pose. Tip back, stretch up. And lean forward and stretch up. Vinyasa. Ooh. Second side. Left foot forward. First warrior. Shift your weight forward. Press up. Breathe. Shift back. First warrior. Open up to the side. Second warrior pose. You can tip back if you know where we're going. And you prefer to get there quicker, go for it. Tip it forward. Other arm up and over. Uttanasana. Step and fold to the front. And I'm going to go wide on my feet. I want to get a little more hip opening from side to side. So if you can, a little bit side to side there. And then I'm going to go for a deep squat. So turn the heels in a little bit. And on this one, it's okay. I'm just going through the knees. It's okay if you want to let your heels come up for a second and just let yourself, like this one, I wouldn't press much because I do want to let things sink down. And as they sink down, like you can see the knees here opening up. As my body weight goes down, just gravity, this is going to push out more. And so if I can organize this well, the melting helps me get down deeper, like right down through the root, right down the midline of the body, midline of the chakras. Now let's go ahead and come back up. Take a big bow, head in, and all the way up. Stretch up, reach up. Hands to your heart, samastiti. Inhale and stretch up. And exhale, take forward fold. Lengthen. Step your left foot back. Step it back. And come into first warrior pose. Now let's bring the opposite side hand. This is the right side. Take your left hand down. I'm going to use a block today. And that block is just going to make it easier for me to turn, not quite as far down. As I turn, if I just relax and I melt, my body, all this stuff, all the mass is going to keep going down towards the floor until I've hit my most tight, connective tissue and joint range of motion. So right here, I want to push and reach. And what's really cool is if I push through the bottom arm, like I'm going to pierce through the ground, things go up so I can pierce through the sky. So as below, so as above. Cool. Set your back knee down. If you want, you can keep your back knee up. Let's work a twist. My mic stuff is all over the place today. Take a nice twist. Plant your elbow. Now again here, this arm, it's not going to go through my leg, but I can extend that energy into the leg. Like I'm going to try to energetically connect with the solid firmness here. So instead of just melt, push. And one of the things that you get with that pierce and press is you get more rise, root to rise. And switch sides. If that didn't seem like very long, I expect you to keep working. Listen when I'm talking, but keep working. Okay, opposite elbow. And again, I don't want to melt into this leg. I want to pierce through that surface layer. Take a breath. And it causes something to shift. It makes something happen. And other side. For the yoga pose in the body, stuff we're talking about here, push, like you're going to pierce, break through that boundary, that barrier. See if you can lift your back knee. When you do it, push down with your back foot. Come into second warrior pose. So open it up to the side, Virabhadrasana 2. Chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. What? Good morning. All right, left foot forward. And let's go kneeling at first. It's a strange way to think about it. Like, I don't just want to connect the skin to the skin on this one. Like, it's like when the bones start to make contact, the skin to skin is going to help me soften in. And it's a different type of intimate contact at the surface. But if I go, like I'm going to push the bones of the arm into the bones of the knee and pierce through that surface layer, then what's going to happen is the bones, especially up above, are going to go up. Okay, let's go for this. If you would like to, tuck your toes and lift your back knee and just see how that goes. Yeah, you can even take the back leg and turn the heel down. Second warrior pose. Go ahead and open it up. Take a breath. Soften in here. And chaturanga. Now, stay in cobra or up dog. If you went past that, come on back, cobra or up dog. And when you get here, now you can melt. And what's kind of cool is if you melt, a lot of times, if you position the body just right, the shoulders will go back if you melt your heart forward. And a lot of times, that's nice, that's good. Shoulders back. But if I take the arms and I also push, and I don't push the shoulders forward, but if I push down, like I'm going to again, just push my hands right through the floor. Then what I get is the heart going up, and I can squeeze back a little to get those shoulder blades back. Come into all fours. Okay, we're gonna do this. Hopefully I won't kick my coffee today, but this one, I just wanna practice with your left hand pushed down, and then I wanna see if you can take this right leg and step it. And it's okay if it steps out here. It doesn't have to be right up to the middle. Turn open and reach up. And then come right back into all fours. In order to do this really, really well, that hand, that arm has to push. It has to make such a strong connection that all of this stuff doesn't keep falling. So I got to push through the surface. And there's so like the whole non-dual concept that if I push down enough here, I will rise up here and I will make a connection in both directions. Switch sides. And you can come into all fours, or you can just stand up and see if you can balance. And switch legs. Okay, opposite hand down. Push with it. And this one we're going to go a little bit farther. Try to tuck the back toes underneath and lift your back hip. Now on the front leg, I want to give you some freedom. And you can also turn this bottom arm. So you can turn the thumb out. And see if you can turn a little bit more open. And see how that back leg, I let it turn today. I can even move that front foot out a little bit. And it's all built on this arm here. And it has to push so much that this goes up. And come on back down. Switch sides. This idea of Pierce, I love it. Push and reach. It kind of, to me, I also think breakthrough. Sometimes, you know, like if you're stressed and you just sit down for a 5-minute meditation, go ahead and lift your back leg. Once you get that leg up, if you want, you can move these things a little. Oh, yeah. So the upward direction opens you up different. And bring it back down. So when I think about, go ahead and take a right leg lunge forward. We're going to do a thigh stretch on the left leg. When I think about like just meditation or homework, you know, being a spouse, being a parent, sometimes you come up against like a roadblock, something in your own habit or pattern. And when you get up to there, you know, sometimes softening and accepting things that you don't normally enjoy, switch legs. Softening your fight against insight, feedback, awareness. Just, you know, it's really, we're kind of programmed not to want to hear where we did something less effectively or efficiently. 2 more breaths on that thigh stretch. And we're going to double up the thigh stretch today too. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So, see, like sometimes we just got to soften that, not wanting to hear it or see it. Thigh stretch. But then a lot of times, after you have a deeper or better insight, you have better input, better information, to make a change in your action. This is the karma stuff. So the next time around, we have our samsaras and samskaras, like repetitious cycles and repeating events. And then the next time around, you're going to be going right towards that same event again. This is kind of how we're built and programmed. Nice job on the thigh stretch. Shift your weight, both hands forward. Shift your weight into the front leg. Try to come up, few moves as possible. Come up and balance. Thigh stretch. So man, we're coming right back around, and we're about to stress eat every crunchy, salty, chewy thing in the house again. Maybe that's one of your things. Tip it forward and reach. Take a couple of breaths. Now I want to reverse this. So go ahead and let go. And I want to see if you can do kind of a one-legged squat and then back down. Switch legs. So we're gonna, this is our tendency. This is the human thing. Thigh stretch, by the way, is that unless there's a greater wisdom or a stronger force, greater wisdom is like a reprogramming. We're going to go back and repeat the same pattern or habit. We're going to go down the same grooves. We're going to get on the same tracks or rails we've been setting up, since we were born, or depending on your belief, even longer. 2 more breaths. And the way you move your body, same thing. Unless you come in with a new wisdom or a stronger force. And we got to do this with a new wisdom at some point, even if we use the stronger force. So the softening to accept that a different way is maybe healthier, the insight, the wisdom of that other way. Go ahead and let go of your foot. Shift your weight into that front leg. See if you can just, boom, right up there. Standing thigh stretch. Take a breath. You can even just think right now in your body alignment. I mean, I'm seeing myself on a big screen here. Go ahead and reach. And so I have an idea I can see some of the ways that my body moves. I have movement patterns, habits. All right, from this one, again, see if you can just balance. Like a one-legged lunge, tap, lower. And then come on back up. Okay, we're going to do that a little bit different. So we had our standing thigh stretch, standing bow. And now I want to do a little chair pose. Have a block ready if you'd like. Now, I can see myself because I have a big screen here, and you might be able to see yourself too. A little bit like practicing in front of a mirror. So your first thing is when you squat, let your ankle bend. And I want you to let your shins go for your knees and your shins. Let them go forward. I don't want your knees to be straight. You'd fall over forward. So as your shins go forward, bend your knees, take your hips back, your thighs back, and then bend at your hips so your spine can be tall. Okay. And we're going to do a little bit of this where I want you to lean the hips. We're going to lean them way out. This is my right side. So lean your hips way over to the right side. That's going to be something we need to do in a few seconds. Lean them over to the other side. Left side, get it way out there. Okay, here's how I want you to do it. If you want, you can watch, follow along. I'm going to use a yoga block inside my left side. Turn open and stretch up. Now, if I'm going to stand up, I need to get some weight into this outer hip. Now, I'm going to do this slow. I'm about halfway up. Load this leg. I don't want the hip to swing way out there, but I need the hip to get over the foot and the leg right here. Push and see if you can bring that other leg up. Clear your block. Okay, thigh stretch. So one of the things I see in my body is my knee and hip start to lose their alignment and form. This is a great little pose connection. Bow pose. And come back up. Squat. Move that block. So now I'm going to be going right hand to the block, turn up and reach. And I'm going to check my pattern. If I don't lean far enough over to the left, I won't have any base to push through, to pierce and go up. So I need enough over there, but if I'm too far over, this will just drop. So if my hips go too far to the left, my chest, shoulders, and core drops. So I want to feel my pattern. So you can go from the twist right to the middle and press. You get to feel your own pattern. Go ahead and take your foot. Breathe. Tip it. Reach it. Take a breath. And stand up. Okay. So I'm going to use that language again, breakthrough. I want to create a breakthrough, and softening counts, but so does creating enough energy where you push through the boundary or barrier that keeps you locked into the same pattern. Let's try to stand on your right foot, if you would. Okay, first, tree pose. That pattern, habit, whatever it is, we can chalk that up to, we can just talk about the way you move. You know, do your knees lean in or out? Do you stand up tall through your spine? Okay, shift this, take the foot back behind, bow pose, okay? Bow and reach. What happens in your leg when you do this? It's probably just about the same thing every time. Okay, so little one-legged squat, chair pose with your twist. Now hand to the block, and we're adding on. Take the outer leg, so I need to be stable here. Take the outer leg, step it back, Parsvakonasana. Parsva. You there at home, chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. Full vinyasa, go for it. I'm just watching, I'm watching. When you get back to downward facing dog pose, you can do it. Step or hop to the front. Uttanasana, take a deep forward fold. And inhale, come all the way up. Come up and stretch. There you go. All the way back up into standing. Hey, finally found that chord. Okay, get ready for it. I'm going to put the block over for the right hand foot. Standing on my left leg, let's go for tree pose, okay? So standing on your left leg, even just the standing, going from here to here, I need to shift my weight into mostly this one leg. And then if I just lean, the hip falls farther out, this hip drops. So even when I just want to stand on this, I have to pierce into the earth, not just lock the leg. I have to press down through the whole foundation. The foundation is what sits on top of the earth, but this becomes rooted or grounded when we place energy through that. It's not break as in a violent break, but I need to get through just the surface layer connection. I need to break through that, push. And like a tree, wonderful analogy. I'm not going to grow up. I might not fall over if I'm just really thick like a marble pillar, but I'm not going to grow and reach unless I'm pressing, piercing. Bow. Take that foot back behind you. Take a breath. When you're ready, lean a little forward, open it up. Bring your head, heart, and chest up. I found my block right here. Chair, right hand down, turn open, reach up. Take a breath. I'm going to fall if I don't create some stability. And rooting, piercing into the ground like a tent stake is so much more stable than just laying against it. So if you can, tighten this up. Step back. Parsvakonasana. Reach up. Downward facing dog pose. All righty, I know we are just on that right side. It's okay. Let's go ahead and bring your right foot to the front. First warrior pose. On your exhale, let's take that left hand, opposite side hand. You can go with the block if you want. Turn open. Here, I'm going to go back towards first warrior pose, just right up into the middle. Balance. If you want to go full third warrior, reach. Second warrior pose, plant, turn, open, tip back. Parshva. That's elbow down, reach up. There you go. And this is a tough one. We haven't done this one yet. From here, turn your core a little bit forward, okay? Step your back foot, chair, open up. And stand up. Let's do it again. Inhale and stretch up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale and lengthen. Chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. Let's go with your left foot forward, first warrior pose. Left foot forward, first warrior. Let's take that opposite hand down and turn it open. Back up into first warrior. I love this. It's a little more challenging on the balance because I don't just get to flip around. First warrior, press it forward and balance. And again, you can make this just standing and balancing, or you can make this third warrior. Come on, you can do it. Arms up. Come on. Arms up, leg up. Step it back. You got it. Second warrior, open up to the side. Tip back. Tip it forward, forearm down to the thigh. Don't just rest on there. Don't just lean on it. Push, reach. You take that top hand and we're going to take it down to the floor or to a yoga block. I'm going to follow with that back leg. Chair, twisted chair. Nice job. Way to go. And back up. Excellent job. Let's take it with your right leg and start with the yoga block on this one. Just get into the front leg, balance, and then I want you to take that left arm and pull it back. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start turning your hips, and we're going to start turning all the way from the shoulders. So take that left arm and pull back. You could think about the elbow, not just as rotating in a circle, but I want to take that elbow like I'm going to push back and get it into this wall. So just standing on your right leg, take that left elbow and push. Now reach the other one, reach. And come back up. Standing on your left, we're going to use that right elbow this time, and I'm going to turn. The shoulders on this one, I'm going to initiate part of my hips with my shoulders. So you can hold that left arm forward, take that right arm back. I'm still trying to keep that knee more forward. It's a little bit at an off angle. There we go. And come on out. This is a little bit like a dancing bowsman, you know, holding the bow and pulling it back. Now let's go for it a little bit farther. Turn and tip. You can keep trying to reach up. So sometimes I tell you just to focus on the bottom down here, but I also want you to focus on the top today. So if you can, tip enough that your hand and your block get down, but then I want you to push down with that front hand, push down with your foot and get stuff to go up. Hey, come on, back up. Other side. Okay, so standing on my left, I'm gonna take that left arm and I'm gonna reach. I'm gonna take the right arm and I'm gonna point and then see if I can keep doing that. That's part of my turn. Just keep going, keep going. Now I have something to push into and reach. Yeah, and just like you can use your leg too, a little bit more complex. Don't just lean on that arm. Push. And come on back up. Okay, if you don't need the block, don't use it. Right side, we're just working on a little bit of sequence refinement and that idea of making really devoted contact. Okay, right leg, right hand. I'm gonna turn, push, reach. See if I can take it down. First warrior pose. So I wanna do a little bit of a turn. Virabhadrasana 1. Opposite hand, down. You can do it. Take that left hand down, turn open, stretch up. And back into second warrior pose. All the way open, other direction. A lot of turning, right at the hips and shoulders. Parshva Konasana. And then let's get right back into it. If you want, do a vinyasa, make it quick, and step up to the front. So if you want to do chaturanga and everything, go for it. Okay. If you're doing the vinyasa, hustle up. Let's go left side. You ready? Okay, so I'm going to get balancing, pierce, reach. Let's see if you can tip it. From here, first warrior pose. So I'm gonna come halfway back into neutral and back. Opposite arm down and twist. You got it. No leaning. Pierce. Open it up. Second warrior pose. And again, you know, the earth can envelop us, give us warmth and comfort, give us something steady to lean against, and we can become complacent. And the softening just turns into softening and softening. But man, then it gives us something to reach into. And Uttanasana. So step and take a forward fold. All right, from here, come into kneeling. And this one, go for a high kneeling pose. Whew, a little bit of work today. So on this one, take your right leg, tuck the toes under. And we've been using the shoulders to turn a little bit. So on this one, I'm gonna take this opposite arm. So this is my right leg. Take your left arm and reach. Take that right elbow and point. And so I'm trying to get things to turn way up here, not right here. See if you can do a little tip and up. It's not a very aggressive twisted camel, but I am going to try to reach a little bit across the body, and I'm definitely going to push down with this other side. Push and reach. And come back up. Okay. So from the front, we're going to go second side. So left leg, toes down, heel up. That's just me. I'm going to take that right arm and I'm going to reach. And you can see from the front how, unless I'm going to fold forward, one of the ways your body continues to extend is it turns. And we can even add more to that by trying to push back. So I get both sides. This side's trying to reach that way. This side's trying to reach that way. And the body can produce that a little bit better when it has both of those. Okay, back hand down, and I'll show you the front angle. So my front arm, because I'm doing a little turn, my front arm, I'm gonna reach it a little bit across. And I'm even thinking about when I go across like that, part of the hip flexors and psoas, because they're kind of, they're small compared to like your glutes, but they do help you turn a little bit. It's a big reach. Pull it all the way through here. A little bit of turn there. And come on back down. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of cushion. I'm going to try this other Zafu. Do a little hammy string today. If you're out there and you are doing the live class today, sorry, I was trying to figure out part of the mics. If you're on Facebook today, probably didn't show up. I don't think I got everything plugged in just correctly. So right knee down, left leg forward. If you're on the opposite side, it's not like the person next to you in the classroom is going to point out that you did the wrong leg. So just make sure you switch legs. On that front foot, flex the ankle back. And now let's try something. So on that front foot, I'm flexing it back. And at the heel, I'm going to try to push down. Now, I see this a ton, all over the place. When I ask somebody to push down, lots of times a person just goes to like a default. You put more weight through that point, that place, I've been told to push down. And so they'll lean more forward to put more weight through the heel. And that is different. That's not digging in, that's not piercing the surface, that's not the tent stake breaking through the ground. That is just more weight laying against it. So on that front foot, I want you to push down until you feel the muscles in the back of your hamstring working, and it makes your knee go up. It's not as simple as just saying, bend your knee, because I want this to be connected to you pushing your heel down. And frankly, those are two different sets of muscle groups working together. A little bit of difference there. Switch legs. Okay, so now I've got my left knee down and my right leg forward. Point the toes more up. I want to get more weight and pressure to the very back of the heel, not the underside of the heel. For you anatomy folks out there, this is to the very back part of the calcaneus, the heel bone, and then push. And I want you to push down using the muscles right back through here. So these hamstrings right back here, they're knee flexors. So they take a knee and they prevent it from bending backwards or hyperextending. And they can also, when these muscles back here work really well, it tries to take the heel and swing it down and back, but the floor's in the way. So I'm using my hamstrings to apply more energy. It's energized heel into the floor, and it's going to feel different, and it's also going to work different. It's going to have a different effect. I want to create a breakthrough. Take a breath. And switch sides. Okay. On this one, if you feel like you got it on that first round, make your blocks a little bit lower. Now you can push down at both ends here, your back knee and that front heel. And honestly, that's probably what you should be doing. And on both of those, I want you to root, press, pierce down. And there's muscles involved in that. At the same time, through your breath, this is more internally in your nervous system, maybe even your endocrine system, some of your hormone stuff, soften in. If this is an uncomfortable hip and hamstring stretch, then don't let that push you out of a great place in your nervous system. So you got to soften And let that stuff be part of the scenery as you break through to a different pattern. Two ways to get to those two basic ways to get through those different patterns: yin and yang, light and dark, masculine, feminine, softening into it, piercing through. Let's go for a deeper forward fold. So head down. All right, switch sides. Okay, so get it ready for your other side. You could start with a little bit of height and support. And just breathe. This all gets back to this idea recently, if you've been in class, of dropping in. Getting to a place inside where you can have a different type of an insight and a different type of experience of the world around you. And it's kind of, I think it's really, really interesting. Sometimes we have to do a lot of work to get to that inner place. Push, push. To break through. And there's, if you get into the yoga stuff, they have different layers of the mind and different layers of speech, and they kind of denote surface and then deeper layers, and what is available in your experience and insight gained at those changes. Very surface level experience is very different than something below that, subterranean. And there's something, I mean, there's value in both places. This is not to say you have to, always exist deeper than the surface. The surface has all sorts of beautiful things. Try to keep this active. Heel, active pressure down, so that the knee has this active pressure up. And the muscles in here have an active tone. And then if you like, center your head more over your leg and take a bow. Take a few more breaths. And you may have to breathe and soften here so you can get your attention to go through the distraction, if there is some. And come on, back up. Okay. Whoa. So today I'm going to do that more gentle because we were doing some twist stuff. And so I want to do this in that more gentle way. You can do a traditional pigeon just straight on forward, or this variation that we've been doing a little bit more lately, and especially in the active aging classes. So if you're up for it, we could take this kind of side-seated pose. And then I want to try to take here, it's not really going to move the bones much. The bones already here have a tendency to not turn in. So they're already, the tight hip stuff is already keeping this turning out. But I do want to get a little emphasis way up high in the flesh. So if you want, you can use a hand and just kind of take your inner thigh and tuck it under this thigh. But to move the bones farther that direction, I don't really want to do that because this leg is already pulled up. It's going this way, this part, this farther out part of the appendage. And this part is more stuck with a tight hip. So it's rotating this direction while I'm pulling this that way. So I don't want to create too much difference at the knee. So if you would, we're just going to take this and I want to turn on part of your core. So I want you to try to take this and turn. Now you could grab and reach, and that's part of the direction we're going, but I don't want you to get too aggressive. I don't want more muscle. So I want to turn a lot, and then I'm going to turn the other way. And you could think about that arm. I want to reach. I'm not leaning yet, and reach. And then this time we're going to put the hands down. So turn, reach, and then plant. And if it feels comfortable for you, then you can come down to the elbows. And I'm going to show you a gentle way to do this. If your elbows just don't get down, put a couch cushion, whatever it is, and you could take your elbows down more to something elevated here. So a lot of great options. Take a breath. You're welcome to stay with that if you want to pause and then come back when you're ready. But because I started a little bit late, my technical difficulties, I'm going to keep this moving, and we're going to finish in seated today. So this is both a little bit of a hip finish and a little bit of a twisting finish. So go with those legs again, opposite side. If you want to use those blocks, you can. Now, if you think about pushing down to go up, softening in to make changes, then where do twists come in with this? So again, I'm going to do a little bit of my prep. I'm going to try to reach, and I'm even going to do this thing where I pull, and I'm going to try to pull this shoulder back and reach a lot. And then I'm going to do the other side. Now you might fall over, and I want you to hold something in here so that you don't. And again, reach. And the last time, push, and then plant. You can go down with your elbows. So the twisting, this is a quick, easy explanation. The twisting, it's not totally push or soften and melt or pull. So pulling is one of the things we can do. But the twisting reorganizes the direction that we draw in from and the direction we extend out from. That's a tough one. It's cool though. One of the reasons why we do twists, a chiropractor turns you partially twisted and then applies pressure. We work different type of twisting core activities. If you've done rehab on hips or knees, or sometimes ankles and shoulders, sometimes there's rotations, rotator cuff work. And so that helps to reorganize how we draw the energy in and how we extend it out, where it is, kind of its location. Okay, sit on back up. So I kind of split the difference, started a few minutes late, and then, whoops, instead of going for a full 75 minutes, I know we're a little bit past some of the times out there, so take a really good seat. Try to let your eyes close. So in your seat, first, soften. So it's rarely ever 100% press, root, pierce, soften, melt, accept. Either or. It's rarely ever just one or the other of that. And maybe you can soften really far in and connect with wonderful, deep stuff. Then maybe you have a tough time staying plugged in there and just passively rising back out to your daily life surface. This can happen the other way as well, like a breakthrough going inwards. Usually it's a little uncomfortable. If you get into a beautiful centered place here, This is the place I want you to practice. This is the place I want you to practice being connected to when you open your eyes and you begin to move around in your homes or your work. And so you might have to break through some layers of habit or ego that says you can't be this soft. You can't be this close to your heart when you're out there in the world. You could hurt your heart, or people could see that you have softness or power. So maybe you have to pierce back up to the light. Maybe you need to break through some clouds or insecurities. And go ahead and bring your hands up to your heart. If you'd like to join in, let's do one Om to finish up. Take a breath. Have a beautiful day or night, wherever you are. Namaste. Great job, everybody.